Hello, my friends. I'm Clover, and this is Genuinely Approachable Sudoku. And this morning we are solving Pattern, What Pattern by Philip Newman. This is part of our August guessing game series. That means that there is something in this puzzle or in the overall series of puzzles so far in August that indicates to you what variant we are going to be solving together tomorrow. So go ahead and scrutinize this puzzle, examine it closely, and if you think you have figured out what tomorrow's variant is, leave us a comment and you get yourself a bonus cowboy hat if you are correct. Today's puzzle is an even sandwich Sudoku. That means we have normal Sudoku rules, so we're placing the digits 1 through 9 once each in each row, each column, and each outline 3x3 region. And then there are also some clues outside of the grid that are even sandwich clues. Those clues tell you exactly which digits have to be sandwiched between two even digits. So for example, if you look at column 6 here, the 4 has to be directly between two other even digits, and the 6 has to be directly between two other even digits. But there are no other digits in that column that are directly between two other even digits. Every other digit is either on the top or bottom, or it has an odd digit next to it. And if there's a little dash, that means there aren't any digits that are directly between two evens in that row or that column. So if we look at row 3 here, the 4 has to be between two evens, so this cell has to be even. In fact, I'm going to color blue for even and orange for odd as I solve. So I know that this cell has to be even, so the 4 is between two evens. Here I know that this cell has to be even, so that the 6 is between two evens. And now we can go a little bit further with this too. The 2 here is not between two evens, because it's only the 4 and the 6, so this is going to be odd. And there's an interesting fact about even sandwich where you have two even clues in a row or column. And that always implies that all 4 evens have to be in a row, and you can work out why that is. So here we have the 2, we have the 4, we need to put the 6 between two other even digits, right? So where can we possibly put the 6? It has to go somewhere where we have an even digit to one side of it and an even digit to the other side of it. So the only place we can actually put it is here, because if we put it like over here, well, the 6 would be even, this would be even, and that would be even, and that would give us 5 evens. You can also see this by looking at the 6s here and here. They rule 6 out of these cells, and also 6 can't go here because this cell doesn't have 2 even neighbors. So either way, this is going to be a 6, and by the same reasoning, this is going to be a 4. And to put the 6 between two evens, there's going to be an 8 there, and to put the 4 between two evens, there's going to be a 2 down there. So those are all of my evens in those 2 rows. So I'm going to go and highlight the rest of those 2 rows as odd. So then these are going to be 1, 5, 7, 9. Not a 9, not a 5, not a 1 or 5. And these are going to be 1, 3, 5, and 9. And that can't be 5 or 9. That can't be 1 or 5. And that can't be 1. Cool. All right. So here I know the only sandwich is 3, so 7 can't be sandwiched, so that can't be even. So that's going to be odd. Here I know the only sandwich is 5, so 3 can't be sandwiched, so that can't be even. So that's going to be odd. Here I have 4 and 6 as our sandwiched digits. So, like I said earlier, we do know, therefore, that all 4 of the evens in these 2 columns are in a row, but I'm going to prove it a little bit more meticulously just in case you're not super comfortable with that. So we're going to look at 4 first. 4 can't go in these cells because there's a 4 right here. 4 can't go here because it would be next to an odd. 4 can't go here because it would be on one end, so it couldn't have 2 even neighbors. So 4 is in one of these. Now, 6 can't go here. 6 can't go in these cells because it wouldn't be able to be between 2 even digits, and 6 can't go here. Therefore, 6 is in one of these. However, we can't have 4 and 6 in these 2 cells because then they would be sandwiching the 2, and we would have to have a 2 clue. So this cell has to be either a 4 or a 6 and is even. And whichever it is, it must be sandwiched between two even digits. So we're going to put it like that. And these are going to be our 4, 6, and 8. This can't be 4 or 6 because whatever it is not between two even digits. So this is going to be an 8. And our 4 and 6 are going to be in the middle. We now have all of our evens in this column. And we can highlight the rest of the column orange for odd. Very, very similar reasoning here is going to give us these as even. And feel free to pause and follow through on that on your own. But basically, these two can't both be 4 and 6. Therefore, that has to be 4 or 6. Therefore, these are from 2, 4, 6, 8 because they have to sandwich whatever that is, but that can't be 4 or 6 because it's not surrounded, so that's going to be a 2, and that's going to be a 4 or 6. Now we have all of our odd digits in all of the corner regions, so we can highlight the entire rest of every corner region as even. That makes these cells that I'm highlighting now all odd because their rows and columns are finished. Okay, now there's got to be a 7 in one of those because there's no other 7 in the region. Therefore, this is a 7, and that takes care of the rest of this row. This has got to be a 3, 7 pair. In fact, there's a 7 in that row. So then these are 1, 5, 9. That makes this a 3. And we can resolve this. That's not a 1, that's my 1. These are going to be 1, 7, and 9, so we have to have a 3 in one of these. These are going to be 1, 3, and 9, so we have to have a 7 in one of these. This is going to be a 1, 5 pair. Okay, so now we need to take a look at some more of our clues, I believe. So we need the 7 to be sandwiched in this row, so the 7 can't go here. We need the 9 to be sandwiched in this row, so the 9 cannot go on either end. We need the 3 to be sandwiched in this column, so the 3 can't go in these cells, so these are from 1, 5, 9. 3 also can't go there, so 3 has to be in one of these. 5, same reasoning, 5 has to be in one of these, and that's 1, 7, or 9, and that is 1 or 9. This is therefore the only position for a 3 here, so that's going to be my 3. Now, 9 has to be in one of these cells here, and 7 has to be in one of these cells here. And I'm looking for symmetry here with the 3 situation, and I'm not quite getting it. I have 5s in these rows, so those can't be 5s, so that's a 5. And that's actually going to be enough to give me 2 evens, one on top of this and one on bottom. So those are going to be 2 and 4, which is going to resolve this stuff. Okay, now this has to be a 2 by Sudoku. And that has to be an 8 by Sudoku. And that's going to be odd. So I have all of my evens in the central column. So these guys are all going to be odd. And now this has to be an 8 by Sudoku because it can't be in the cell below it. Therefore, this is my 7. That's the only remaining spot for a 7, and that bounces back and takes care of this stuff. This is going to be a 6 because that's the only place I can put a 6 in the row. And this is going to be an 8 because that's the only place I can put an 8 in the column. So now this is going to be odd. Look at this beautiful symmetry. I love a Phillips symmetry puzzle. So now that's going to be odd, and that must be a 3 to finish the region. And now I think we can probably just get away with using classic Sudoku techniques at this point. Yep, that's going to be a 5 to finish the column. And 5 and 1 and 5 and 9 and 1, and now we just have to finish these corner regions off. So this is the position for 2 in this region, and those are going to be 4 and 8. That makes this a 6 in the column and a 2 and 4 there. That's now an 8, and these are going to be 2 and 6, and because that's 2, that resolves. This becomes a 4 and 6, and that is how you solve Philip Newman's pattern. What pattern? I'm afraid I only got 1 hat on that one. That was a little bit of a tough one for me. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I tried to explain that clearly. Even sandwich can be a little bit counterintuitive. And I will see you again for another solve in a couple of days.